What's up, everyone? This is the Fluency Target podcast. Always aim for fluency. This is the last episode of season one, and I couldn't end this season without bringing a student who is near and dear to me. Fernanda had classes with me to improve her pronunciation and develop her English level. Along her journey, she's always carried with her a desire to work abroad, but she didn't have it clear on how to get there. Well, not only did she develop her English and have an impressive evolution, but she also made it to work abroad. And she's here now to share with you guys everything she's been through. Hello, how's it going?
Hello. Hello, Carla. Hello, everyone. I'm doing great, and you?
I'm good. I'm very good today, despite the heat wave we're facing in Brazil. That's great.
Yeah,
We're
I heard.
surviving.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah,
It's
but
crazy,
that's
right?
okay. Yeah, it's been really crazy, but it's gonna be over by the end of next week. So we'll be
Yeah.
fresh again. I hope so.
Me too.
Yeah. And how about there? How's the weather? Is it fresh now?
Yeah, it is. Actually, the autumn started yesterday, so now the weather is better.
That's great. So let's get it started by your English journey. I think this is one of the most interesting part because this thing leads to the other ones. It's like a
Yeah,
connection, right?
sure.
So first of all, I would like you to talk a little about when you started learning English.
It was a long time ago.
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I started when I was a teenager. English is the most spoken language.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I always wanted to learn how to speak. And I started learning in regular schools.
Mm-hmm.
And but there was a time in my life that I realized that I need to learn better. By better, I mean how to really pronounce the words.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you are speaking like, uh, but I am, but actually you are speaking, but I am.
Yeah, you're not
So,
connecting anything.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not connecting,
Mm-hmm.
not making yourself clear.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted, I wanted not just to know English, but be able to communicate in English with a clear, uh, not the real English, because I'm from Brazil, so it will always be with an accent, but be more clear, be more natural.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when I started the classes with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is my area, my work. So I work in the customs area, and it's very important. English is very important
Mm-hmm.
to
You
connect.
talk to the world, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Basically. Mm-hmm.
So you have not have, but must be able to talk not only to Americans, but China, India, which
Mm-hmm.
are the most difficult English.
Yeah,
They
very
are
challenging.
also not natives, but
Mm-hmm.
it's very challenging. So well, it's a for me it's an amazing language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me ask you something. You talked a little about the journey. Do you remember something specific that you used to struggle and you developed really well while doing classes with me?
Many things.
Yeah, you told about the connection of the words. I think it's a good example.
Yeah, the connections, of course, being clear,
Hmm.
and also the pronunciation of the words, because sometimes you tend to really read like
Hmm.
trying to use Portuguese to
Hmm.
English. So, and I think the most common are the words true, throughout. na,
Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah, the worst one.
The nightmare of everybody.
Yeah, the nightmare, and
Uh-huh.
it's still it is a nightmare. Still, it is still today.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think this is the main thing. And other than that, be more natural when
Hmm.
you speak with a native,
Hmm.
and be more confident.
Hmm.
So actually, everything is connected. When you feel confident, you are able to speak more naturally.
Yeah, I can see that now. You're very good. Yeah.
Well, I'm a little nervous. So.
Everybody gets nervous at the beginning, but after we start warming up with these introductory questions, it gets better.
All
Yeah.
right.
But one thing that I notice right now with you and all the students that are successful is the idea of trying to find your voice in English. Because when we speak in English, sometimes we are so afraid with the grammar, with the pronunciation, and sometimes we forget that we have our body to use in the language. And when you use the body gestures, everything changes, even the way you speak. Everybody understands you better than when you stay like this, like stiff and like,
Mhm.
my name is Carla.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And this is normal in the beginning
yes,
because you tend to read the
exactly.
English, not
Hmm.
speak.
Yeah, you read like it is there and you forget the whole thing. You
Yeah,
forget that you have to really communicate, not only read the words, right?
yeah, that's
That's
true.
very good. Yeah, it was a beautiful journey. Actually, it is a beautiful journey because you're living the dream right now. But
Yeah, it's serious.
yeah, no spoilers. We're going to do this. We're going to go over that later. Speaking of dreams now, your dream kind of became a goal because I remember really well that you had an idea to be au pair, and we went through a whole process where you tried, but it didn't work out at that time. And then you had this brilliant idea that, I mean, it was always a desire of yours to move abroad and to work abroad. But I would like you to talk a little bit about this transformation from a desire to be there, to be abroad, and now being there working. How was this whole process for you? This changing,
Yeah.
from desire to goal.
Yeah. Yeah, long journey, right? Well, as you told, I always dreamed about being abroad, living abroad, but I didn't know how to get here.
Hmm.
So there are many options for you to live at least for 6 months, 3 months abroad. But I really want to live and learn here.
Hmm.
So my goal in the beginning was to become an au pair and maybe study here
Hmm.
and stay a little bit more and then find a job in the area. Um, and the dream, the new dream of really working abroad in the company I already worked in Brazil, became more clear when I saw that what it was possible if I had the English, of course,
Hmm.
and the abilities. If I could prove that I can work as better as one America, as an American.
Hmm.
And with a time, I realized that my area here in the US, they don't have like a degree. They have a course, but it's like the course the with 2 years only or
Hmm.
1 year. It's just like a
It's more like
short.
a technical course. Hmm.
Yeah. So they have these, but they don't really have the people who study,
Hmm.
got a degree, got an experience
Hmm.
um, to work here. And with that, I connected with my job, the
Hmm.
company I used to work in Brazil, and started applying for a job. for a real job in my area here or related,
Mm-hmm.
because also be related with the supply chain
Mm-hmm.
area. And then things start happen. Of course, it was not only one interview or um, one process. It was a long process, and when I was almost giving up, not giving up, but um, I wasn't that much focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that I told you that I was going to search for other opportunities in other companies abroad.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And because I really had this goal for 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it was the beginning of the another year from
Mm-hmm.
2022 to 2023.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, another year and I don't have nothing.
Uh-huh.
Nothing. Nothing is a hard word, but I
Yeah,
don't
but it's
have.
not what you wanted, right? You
Yeah,
didn't
it's
have
not.
anything that you kind of imagined for the year.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it matched with the 30 crisis, which is very famous because I turned it 30 and I was like, oh my god, I I haven't accomplished my goal yet. So
Uh-huh.
it was
Yeah.
kind of mix up everything.
Yeah. But as you said, the process was very long. You had,
Mhm.
I'm going to explain to everybody a little bit, but she had like two times doing this process. One of the first time was something, actually, it is something long, but the first time you're going to explain better, but you kind of didn't pass. You start losing hope because nothing was showing up for you. You didn't have much of hope anymore. And then you started thinking like, oh, I need a plan B now. I need to start
Yeah,
finding another position, maybe in another company. I don't know. I need to find my solution.
yeah,
Yeah. And I told you, don't be lost. Keep going. Do that.
yeah.
But
And
be, yeah, sorry.
no, I was just going to say that
Yeah.
by that time, I
Mm-hmm.
remember you told me, do your best
Mm-hmm.
and everything is going to happen. Mm.
Yeah. Be more specific now. How was the first time for you? You don't need to say like lots of things, but tell us the feeling. Like when the first time you had this idea to apply to the first position you saw, and then the process of the interview. How was it?
Challenging because it's very if you compare, it's different when you are having an interview in Portuguese. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, you have to prepare as well, but uh, as I mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, you have to convince someone that you're better than an American.
Yeah.
And so you have to show all your abilities
Mm-hmm.
speaking English. And sometimes um, the American person speaks very fast and you're nervous and you don't get the question.
Uh-huh.
And you have to ask like 3 times for them to repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And you start become more
Uh-huh.
anxious, more nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember everything of the first interview, but today I realized that it was very good for me
Mm-hmm.
because I could learn how really to present yourself by doing a presentation, a
Mm-hmm.
clear presentation, just going straight to the point, not speaking very much because when you speak a lot, you tend to lose your thought,
Mm-hmm.
and then you are like, and they like lost, and people are just staring at you like waiting, and
Yeah.
you
Like
you
what's
don't
going on
know,
here right now?
yeah, and you start
Uh,
forgetting everything and
mm-hmm.
all the words. You don't even know how to say your name anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very interesting, this whole process and this learning that I could get from these interviews.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember really well the first time. And I have to say to everybody that it's nice when you get the idea that you're going to get a job interview in English. But I think the hardest part it is during the process for sure when you talk face to face to a person like you said. You have to prove yourself to prove that you are as good as a professional as you are speaking in English, right? Because
Yeah.
you have to express your abilities through English and express accurately, if that makes sense. Because if you don't say the things exactly the way you are, they're going to see another image of yours. It's not going to be you, right? And then I think the hardest part for you are going to confirm it is waiting for the answer. It's very, very nerve wracking.
And just another thing, not
Yeah.
only the waiting process, but remember that I had to create like a case.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this first interview was not really my area. It was connected to the supply chain area, logistics, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not an expert on that. So
Uh-huh.
I studied
Uh-huh.
everything, but questions, of course, they have to ask questions, and
Uh-huh.
uh, I had to explain to sustain my response.
Uh-huh.
So it was very hard, and there was a time that I was totally lost in my thought, and I just apologized to them.
But you did well. I think
Yeah, I
it,
did well
you know,
in the end.
I, yeah, and I remember now because guys, I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't plan to tell the process. Like, didn't have my script right now, but I remember pretty well when you were having a hard time, and I was like, "Look, if you need to rephrase yourself, if you need to stop everything you're saying and say, guys, I need to start over because I lost my train of thought. That's okay, because if you don't do this, it's gonna be worse. You're gonna start losing yourself even more."
Yeah.
At the end, like you said, you don't know your name, you don't know why you're there. You kind of lose the opportunity because you are nervous and you were afraid of making the mistake, right? So I always told you, do your best, but also be yourself because it's gonna happen. Mistakes are gonna happen. Even in this first time of the interview, it wasn't your area. You did something even more complicated because usually people wouldn't do that. They would say, "Oh, it's not my area. Maybe I won't apply. I won't be in the interview because I'm not gonna talk about
Yeah.
something I'm not an expert, right?" But you were brave, Fernanda. You were a superhero in this first interview.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but like you said, it was a huge lesson that prepared you for the second time.
Mhm.
If you hadn't done the first one, probably the second wouldn't be as good or you wouldn't have gotten the job, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be
It
so
was
prepared.
actually the third when I got the job, right? Yeah, there
Yeah.
was this
Yeah,
logistic
yeah.
process, another one which was, I think, in 3 steps,
Uh-huh.
phases, and then the one that I finally got the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. And very good. Tell me, for you now, being in the job, what are the major differences between working for a company in Brazil and working for a company in the US?
Yeah. Even though the company is the same,
Mm-hmm.
they have different. They are different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So they are the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
They are very straight to the point, uh, and the system that they use here is different from Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn everything, most
Mm-hmm.
everything, and I would say that they work differently than Brazil, because in Brazil we tend to work more in a group, and here they work more individually. So this was the big difference that I noticed when I first started here. But now I'm more familiar with them. In the beginning, I was like, am I supposed to talk to the other department or not? Like that.
You kind of feel a little lost at the beginning, right?
Yeah, a lot. But I think this is the major difference between Brazil and the US.
Yeah, and just for people to understand, Fernanda got an internal transference. So she moved from the same company in Brazil to the US. So that's what happened. She didn't move companies, actually. It was the same, right? And I think it's very, how can I say that? It's double the complication because you don't go there just with differences in the professional area. You also have to face the cultural shock in other aspects of life, right? Especially when it comes to socializing, to seeing how people are in another country, how they interact with other people as well, the way they eat, the way they prepare things, the way they use things, right? So this topic I couldn't leave out of our conversation. When you moved abroad, of course, it was a mix of emotions.
Yeah,
It was
it
like a
still
roller
is.
coaster.
Yeah.
And how was this whole thing for you to move? Did you realize moving abroad in a certain way uh, was different? I mean, like the culture, you were expecting something completely different. How was it for you?
Well, it was a mix of everything because you just don't move like to another city. You move to another country. So you have a house, you have all your belongings, you have your car and everything. Your family, of course, your friends. So first it was the material thing to sell everything. Uh, really things that you are attached, a routine, a place, a city. And I love the city where I used to live. And also, I got married in the process. So it was a whole change because actually we had to marry very fast, I would say. So
Yeah.
in this process, we started living together as well because for us to really move to the US, and then we started sharing only one car because we had to sell the other one. It was and everything. It was in a month.
The change started already in
Yeah,
Brazil,
in
getting
Brazil.
married and getting the job, everything
Yeah,
together.
and so are at your home, at your place, with everything there. And the other day, you have to start selling everything or donating. And the last 2 weeks, I didn't have any place. I mean, I had,
You are
but
almost
it was not.
homeless.
Yeah, almost homeless, but you don't have your place, you know. So it was a mix and everything, mainly because my parents are divorced. So the city, Piracicaba, where I used to live, is where my father lives, and my mother lives in another state, which is Paraná. So I had to go there to leave some stuff there, go back again, go there again, go back again for 3 times in this month, you know. And then when we arrived here, well, they are very uh, individual. So
Mm-hmm.
I remember the day we arrived, they told, "Oh, this is your car," and because they have to give you a car because you don't have any document here, so and
Mm-hmm.
you just drive. This is the place you're going to stay, and I didn't know how even to turn on the car, you know. So,
Yeah. Even
so
turning on the car became a difficulty, right? In the middle
yeah,
of nowhere.
yeah, and I mean, I didn't know the laws
Mhm.
here, and I was afraid to being stopped by a police officer, you know.
Yeah.
It was crazy, and
Mhm.
then we stayed for 3 months in this place that the company helped us, and finally last month we moved to our real place, our real home,
Mhm. You're
and
official.
yeah. So I would say that during this 4 months already, we never stopped, really
Mhm.
stopped to
Mhm.
really live our life here in the
Mhm.
US. I would say that we started a couple weeks ago. No.
Yeah, no, it is a big change, and everything happening at the same time. And I don't know, Fernanda. Many people would look at you and say, "How have you done this?" Like,
Yeah,
it is
because
a lot of things for a short period of time, for sure.
because when you move from to another country, you have to start over.
Hmm.
So you have to create like a CPF here.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
I think for you it's
social,
a social number, right?
yeah, social number.
Hmm.
You have to get another driver's
Hmm.
license
Which means another
from,
exam, right?
yeah, which is not, it is easy because you
Mhm.
already know how to drive, but you are dealing with another culture, and you have to buy another car, buy all the furniture to your house again.
Mhm.
So I remember that every weekend we used to go to many stores to search for better prices here, because
Mhm.
you have to buy since a mattress
Mhm.
to silverware, you know,
Mhm.
everything. You don't have not even a cup.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand. Because you move from Brazil to another country like with literally almost nothing, right?
Yeah, three luggage.
Yeah, that's it, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
And during the process, the
Mhm.
personal life, you also have to work, learn, learn a new system, learn from a new culture, learn everything, and speak English
Yeah, during this
the
whole
whole
thing.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of speaking English, I think everybody's dying to know how it is to live in English 24/7. Did you have any side effects at the beginning? Talking too
Yeah.
much in English?
Yeah. I had I would say that I still have,
Mm-hmm.
because in Brazil, I of course I used to speak English as well.
Mm-hmm.
But here is the whole time, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone is speaking English.
Mm-hmm.
And when I arrive at home, my husband, of course, and I, we speak Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
So until my brain really turned to
Mm-hmm.
Portuguese again, I started having headache
Mm-hmm.
like every single day, and sometimes I still have, because my boss, she speaks very fast. And
Uh-huh.
in the beginning, I was like, calm down a little bit.
Slow
And
this English down, please.
yeah, slow your English. And there are many words that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And because they are very specific with the area. So I had, I have, and I had to learn.
Mhm.
many words from scratch because I don't even know how to explain that because only when you live
Uh-huh.
like everything in English, you will know
Mhm.
how
Yeah.
how different it is from your mother language to another language
Mhm.
24 hours.
Yeah, especially when it's in a business universe, because, like you said, they are very specific. So it feels like you study English for a long time, you have your baggage full of
Hmm.
tools of English, but when you
Yeah,
really start using the tools, you start learning how to use new ones, new
yeah.
accessories. Oh, there is something new here I didn't know. So you start incorporating these new words for you, right?
Mhm.
And having headaches, it's unfortunately a side effect that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
your brain
not
adapts for sure.
yeah, and not only in the work space,
Hmm.
also in any store and everywhere
Hmm.
because where I live, people really speak English. There are some places that many people from Brazil are
Hmm.
are living, but this is here you don't see that much. I think we only met two Brazilians
Hmm.
until now, so
Yeah, literally.
yeah, it's not that much. People really speak English or they speak Spanish, but it's not that much as well.
Hmm. Yeah, you are 100% immersed in English right now.
Yeah,
There's
now I
nowhere to
really
run.
am. No.
Yeah, but I understand you. And yeah, this whole process, I think you become very overwhelmed at the beginning, right? I
Hmm.
would say. And yeah, you just, it's not that you feel used to it, but I think you learn how to handle two languages, one at home,
Yeah,
one outside.
yeah, it's true. And now my boss wants to learn Portuguese.
Oh
So
my God.
I've been trying to teach her,
Uh-huh.
but it's
It's
very
fun.
difficult for me because I'm not that good at teaching someone. Uh, and so basically, now I started with the good morning, how are you? Good
Uh-huh.
afternoon, how you say good night, good evening, and everything.
Uh-huh.
And so when we start the day, she usually says bom dia,
Uh-huh.
but I told her this is only the beginning because Portuguese is
Yeah.
worse or as equal as Spanish because she tried Spanish as well.
Uh-huh.
And I told her the grammar is not
Mm.
that easy. So
Yeah.
be prepared.
There's something very different that you're thinking right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was telling me that, oh, Portuguese has so many words in one, just one phrase. And I told her, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I told you.
You know, I think you can now you can play a funny thing. Guys, we're just kidding, but you can play revenge now because remember th sound think. Now you can
Yeah.
teach her own how to make the own sound. You know, she's gonna die.
Oh, and another thing, they really correct you.
Oh.
They really do. There was a day I was talking of something I don't really remember, but I
Hmm.
told her lime, which is
Uh-huh.
lime.
Ah, okay. Uh-huh.
And she was like, "What? What?" And then I showed her, and then she, "Oh, lime." And I was, "It's not what I just said." No, it wasn't.
Yeah. But now a curiosity, like I'm curious. Do you feel like they correct you in a way to teach you?
Yeah, teach you,
Yeah, because it's whole
not to
different. It's a
judge
whole
you.
game. Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's not in a judgmental way, right? It's
No,
like, oh,
not at
this
all.
is lime, okay?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually very helpful
Hmm.
because it's there are words that you don't speak on regular basis.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so when you speak for the, yeah, usually you see that in a text, but maybe you don't speak, so you're gonna struggle a little bit. It's
Yeah.
nice. It's a great thing that you have a great resource, having a person to say, oh, it's not like that. It's
Yeah.
this. Yeah. No, it's a really nice experience you shared. And Fernanda, what is another thing weird in the American culture for you? Is there something food or in another aspect?
Yeah, I was going to say food. I remember my first day that we were adjusting the hours I was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, oh, so my lunch time can be from na 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 to na na na. And she
Mm-hmm.
told me, well, you can choose, but we usually uh, just eat at our desk, in our desk.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay. And
Something strange already.
yeah. And I
Uh-huh.
told her, okay, so you bring your food and eat here. How
Mm-hmm.
does that work? And she
Mm-hmm.
thought, oh no, I just grabbed something to eat somewhere, you know, and eat at my in my desk. So this is very, if you compare with us, it's very different. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, they have a place for you to eat, but
Mm-hmm.
they pretty much eat junk food, is what they call,
Uh-huh.
and they don't stop. So in Brazil, I used to have 1 hour, and now I have half hour.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I can go home earlier. So
Yeah. It's a nice
which is
exchange.
yeah, which is good. But well, it's very different from Brazil. They like to have a real meal during the evening because
Mm-hmm.
they also have dinner very earlier here, like around 6, 7,
Mm-hmm.
and
Interesting.
yeah, which for me is very earlier.
Uh-huh.
So I still eat around 8, 9 during the
Mm-hmm.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, I think, is the most different thing. And I told you they are very individual,
Mm-hmm.
and this is also different from us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what about food in general? Not food from work, but when you went for the first time, like buy things at the supermarket, how strange was that?
Well, uh, here everything is, I would say, easy for you
Mm-hmm.
to buy
Mm-hmm.
and to prepare. So let's say the vegetables usually are already clean or even in cut it.
Mm-hmm.
So usually the vegetables, let's say, they are usually clean and cut it already. Just you just have to really prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the price, of course, they are different from Brazil if you compare.
Mm-hmm.
So you can buy more things here for sure. And many foods are almost ready for you to eat.
Mm-hmm.
In Brazil, you usually have uh, a small session like for pizzas, sandwiches, and everything. Here
Mm-hmm.
they have one big session for pizzas, another big session for no, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of junk foods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's way more practical for them to have this frozen food and even to buy, right? For us, it's still considered here in Brazil a little bit expensive if you compare, right?
Yeah, but here is cheaper.
Yeah. So it's easy to not stay in shape in the US, right?
It is. It is.
Yeah. Did you suffer a little to focus
Yeah.
on your diet at first?
Yeah. Yeah. Not only because of the many options that they have, but also because their food is different from ours. So they use more sodium in
Mm-hmm.
everything. Sometimes you can find even sodium in the salad.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's to keep for more time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now I would say that we are more familiar with the products, the places that we prefer to buy,
Mm-hmm.
the prices. Because if you buy one thing in a supermarket, another thing in another place, no, 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 it kind of gets expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So now we are a member of Costco. There is very popular here, and
Mm-hmm.
also Sam's Club,
Mm-hmm.
which is easier, and they have everything, and everything is big. It's really
Oh,
big. Yeah,
yeah. Big
it
portions,
helps.
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to plan your week. Otherwise, you usually waste food.
Oh, I can't imagine. They always have those family size products, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And family size
And
is really family size.
mhm,
Uh-huh.
I bought napkins.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I was supposed to buy something else.
Mm-hmm.
And now they are here. I think they will last for more than 1 year.
Yeah, probably
Because,
10.
yeah.
Probably 10 years. Yeah. But big changes, even in food, you see, it's from the smallest detail to big things in your life. It's
Mhm.
very interesting to see. And a question for you now. One of our last ones. What do you miss the most about Brazil?
My family,
Mm-hmm.
of course, my friends, and the food.
Yeah.
But there is a city here. It's about 1 hour from where I
Mm-hmm.
live. And there are many Brazilians.
Mm-hmm.
So last weekend I went there to have barbecue.
Oh,
It
that's
was
nice.
so nice
Mm-hmm.
because uh, it's the real barbecue. You
Mm-hmm.
can find farofa
Oh,
because
cool.
usually you don't find here.
Mm-hmm.
There was brigadeiro.
Mm-hmm.
You don't find here as well. Tapioca,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which it was in my diet, but
Mm-hmm.
I had to find other options. So I miss a lot the food uh, from Brazil, mainly the food that my mom cooks.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Mothers, they have the best food.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sad with this answer a little bit. I mean, I thought you were going to say I miss my English teacher. Haven't seen in a while,
You are
you
my
know.
friend.
Okay, now I
So,
understand. Yeah,
yeah,
miss you too. Yeah.
yes, of course I miss you.
Yeah, it was a smart move. No, I'm
You are
kidding.
included.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I miss you too. Really.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't
And
say that because I'll start crying.
yeah,
I
me
don't
too.
want anyone to see
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me?
How's Brazil so far? Besides hot.
Well, it's been, I mean, I think if you ask everybody, like from your friends, your family, everybody will tell you something different. But I think it's been great. I think
Yeah.
people are looking for English more and more because they want abroad opportunities abroad, just like you, I think.
Uh,
And what else? I don't know, Fernanda. It's been the same pretty much since you left. Yeah. But that's it. I think Brazil is good. I think you're going to agree with me in general. And I think we only have different aspects. And it's
yeah,
up to
sure.
you to decide, for example, what is best for you. In your case, what was best for you was moving abroad, it was your desire, right?
Yeah, For sure.
Yeah.
And you really realize when you are here, because there are many things that I miss from Brazil and many things that I would miss here from here if I moved back to Brazil. So you have to really balance and see what is important for you, for your family, to your
Hmm.
life.
All right. So I'm sure everybody who watched this could get the bigger picture of how your life has changed along this process. And of course, this is extremely important for everybody who, for, sorry. And this is extremely important for people who wants to move abroad, because when you go to a different country, you don't handle with the good things only. You also have to deal with the downsides of living abroad, and you need to adapt, right? And sometimes in order to adapt, you have to accept a couple things. You have to understand that it's only different. You can't change a culture, and you have to really immerse yourself in this culture. There's no other way.
Yeah. I mean, even though you want to bring a little bit from the culture, from your culture, from Brazil, it's not possible. You're not there. And it's the same when they visit Brazil.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah. So I would like to finish before doing my final considerations that I am always and I will always be proud of you, proud of this huge achievement. It's not only work. You got married along the process. Your husband is my student also. And I am always, always proud because your story represents part of who I am as well. You know, I am not only the teacher, I also learn, and I always tell students, I live the dream together. When you told me you were going, it felt like I was going to. Part of me was going to, actually.
But you are here.
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. And yeah, I just want to tell people that don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and if someone like to be mentored by me, just access the link down below the description. Thank you so much, Fernanda.
Thank you for having me. It was so
Always.
great.
Hope to see you again in another episode in the future.
All right. I hope so.
Yeah, hope to see you guys on season 2.